This evening, first, traffic cameras are tightening the net. Motorists, including minibus drivers, are already before the courts, fined and suspended as automated systems flag dangerous driving nationwide. Plus, business is blooming. More than 36,000 new businesses registered last year, signaling rising investor confidence as the government moves to modernize company laws to match Guyana's fast-growing economy. Also, a cross-border strike on illegal mining. Nearly 200 arrests, millions seized, and Guyana at the center of the first ever regional operation targeting gold smuggling, toxic mercury, and organized crime. Meanwhile, zero tolerance in schools. The education minister warns that students who attack teachers face suspension or expulsion as investigations continue into violent incidents caught on camera. And regionally, the United States issues a sharp warning to Haiti's transitional leadership, cautioning against political moves that could fuel gang violence amid delayed elections. These stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for January 23rd, 2026. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, several motorists have been fined and hauled before the court as traffic cameras continue to clamp down on dangerous driving across the country. The Guyana Police Force says enforcement under the Safe Road Intelligence System remains active, with multiple drivers charged after traffic breaches were detected through automated cameras. On January 13th and 14th, a total of 12 drivers appeared before the Suriname and Georgetown Magistrates Courts in connection with dangerous driving offenses. The matters involved mainly minibus operators, with penalties ranging from fines to license suspension. Among the cases, one minibus driver was fined $150,000 and had his driver's license suspended for 4 months after being convicted of 3 counts of dangerous driving. Several other drivers were fined amounts between $40,000 and $50,000, while a number of matters were adjourned to March 11, 2026 for further hearing. One motorist pleaded not guilty and was granted bail. Police said the SRIS traffic cameras are playing a critical role in identifying reckless driving behaviors and supporting prosecutions through the court. Authorities have warned that more cases are expected to be brought as enforcement continues. The traffic department reiterated that dangerous driving poses a serious threat to public safety and stressed that all offenders captured by the cameras will be pursued. Motorists are being urged to obey traffic laws and drive responsibly to avoid penalties and protect lives. In other news, a late-night crash on Linden's new Wizrock public road has plunged the community into mourning, claiming the lives of 3 people, including well-known spiritual leader Andrew Irving. Irving, who was originally from Linden, was one of the occupants of a car that slammed into the rear of a container truck late Thursday night. He was seated in the front passenger seat at the time of the collision. The driver of the vehicle and a woman who was seated in the back also died. Their identities have not yet been officially confirmed. Reports indicate that the accident occurred around 10 p.m. along the newly constructed roadway. Headline News understands that the vehicle Irving was traveling in allegedly attempted to overtake upcoming traffic before crashing into the container truck that was parked on the roadway. Information reaching this newscast suggests that the truck's occupant had exited the vehicle to address a mechanical issue when the collision occurred. Emergency responders were summoned to the scene, but all 3 occupants of the car were pronounced dead. The tragic loss of Andrew Irving has sent shockwaves through Linden and beyond, as he was widely known for his spiritual work and community involvement. Police have launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the fatal crash, including whether speed, visibility, or road conditions played a role. Authorities say further details will be released as investigations continue. On a different note, Guyana recorded a sharp rise in business activities in 2025, with more than 36,000 new businesses registered and over 1,500 companies incorporated, signaling strong investor confidence in Guyana's expanding economy. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nanlal, speaking on his weekly program Issues in the News, said these figures are based on data from the Deeds and Commercial Registry and attributed the surge to stable economic policies and pro-business environment fostered by the government.
36,251 new businesses, not companies, business names, new businesses, 36,251 were registered in 2025. When I broke down the average, that's over 3,021 new businesses registered per month. 3,021 businesses per month. And I even went further. 19 businesses are registered every hour in an 8-hour day, or were registered every hour. 19 businesses per hour in an 8-hour working day, 5 days per week.
The Attorney General noted that several new companies were also registered. He said the figures clearly demonstrate the growing confidence of local and foreign investors in Guyana's economy.
1,516 companies incorporated in 2025. 1,516 new companies incorporated in 2025. That is 126 companies incorporated per month. 6 companies incorporated per day. 6 companies incorporated per day on an 8-hour day, working day. That is almost a company every hour. These are amazing statistics. These statistics demonstrate the confidence that people have in the economy of our country, Guyanese have, and local and foreign investors have in the economy of this country.
The Minister of Legal Affairs noted that the rapid growth has prompted moves to modernize Ghana's corporate framework, with the Companies Act of 1991 currently under comprehensive review to ensure it aligns with international best practices and the country's evolving economic landscape. Nanlal highlighted major government investments in infrastructure, housing, energy, healthcare, education, and public works as key drivers of business opportunities, creating jobs and opening opportunities for contractors, suppliers, and service providers across multiple sectors. The Attorney General confirmed the government's commitment to ensuring Guyanese are active participants in national development, benefiting directly from the country's ongoing economic expansion. Stick around when we return. Operation Guyana Shield nets nearly 200 arrests in illegal gold mining, and Education Minister warns of suspension and expulsion as zero-tolerance crackdown on school violence intensifies.
Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Copy small to make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Linden's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. A coordinated international crackdown on illegal gold mining has resulted in arrests, major seizures, and heightened border enforcement with Guyana playing a central role in the operation. Police and prosecutors from Guyana, Brazil, French Guyana, and Suriname have completed their first ever joint transnational exercise targeting illegal gold mining and related organized crime networks. The operation, known as Operation Guyana Shield, has led to nearly 200 arrests across the region. In Guyana, 3 men were detained on suspicion of gold smuggling and money laundering after authorities seized unprocessed gold and approximately $590,000 in cash. Investigators believe the suspects may be linked to an organized criminal network with possible connections to a major Guyanese gold exporting entity. The operation also resulted in the seizure of firearms, drugs, mining equipment, and communication devices. In Guyana and Suriname, law enforcement officers intercepted over $60,000 worth of mercury cylinders. The mercury, commonly used in illegal gold mining, known to be highly toxic, was concealed inside solar panels and transported by bus. Authorities conducted coordinated border patrols and mirror operations along key river borders, including the Ghana-Brazil and Ghana-Suriname frontiers. Searches were also carried out at riverbank businesses suspected of supplying illegal mining operations, leading to the seizure of counterfeit medicines, alcohol, and cigarettes valued at over $40,000. Officers further intercepted a bus carrying undocumented migrants, including minors suspected of being vulnerable to exploitation. Interpol said the rising global gold prices have fueled illegal mining, making it a major source of income for organized crime groups. Officials describe Operation Guyana Shield as a significant step in strengthening regional cooperation to combat environmental crime and protect public safety. In other news, Minister of Education Sonia Parag has issued a strong warning against violence in schools, making it clear that students who attack teachers will face suspension and possible expulsion. Minister Parag confirmed that an investigation into the incident is underway and that the students involved have already been suspended pending the outcome of the probe. Meanwhile, the Education Minister visited Zeeburg Secondary School in Region 3, following another video showing a student being bullied and attacked by a group of boys. She said a special assembly was held to reinforce the Ministry of Education's position and to remind students that violent behaviors will not be tolerated.
Are you supposed to be disrespecting a teacher? Are you supposed to be disrespecting your fellow students? So we know all the right things to do, but why don't we do them? Why we don't do them? Because we are influenced, and because we can be easily influenced. Let me say something to you. There is no way under my tenure that I am going to tolerate any group of persons calling themselves a gang, any group of persons infiltrating a school to create what is called a gang or a clique or a group. I will work with every single authority to dismantle it. Because you cannot develop unless you are in a safe environment. The teachers can't do what they have to do unless they are in a safe environment.
Minister Parag stressed that there is zero tolerance for violence and indiscipline in schools, particularly acts of aggression directed at teachers. While each case will be assessed individually, the minister said no student should ever assault a teacher, noting that schools operate under rules that must be respected. The incident has reignited national concern over violence and bullying in schools. In response, Minister Parag highlighted the government's ongoing campaign to curb bullying and student violence, describing it as a priority that extends beyond educators to include parents and the wider community. The Education Minister said the zero-tolerance approach applies to all forms of violence, whether student on student, student on teacher, or between schools, and pledged to work aggressively over the next 5 years to reduce bullying and related violence. The ministry has indicated that further actions will be taken as investigations continue. Don't go away after the break. Vans visit Minneapolis. Immigration crackdown raises tension. And China faces the United States in space, technology, and global dominance.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. How smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins. Tonight, the US warns Haiti's transitional leaders against changes that could fuel instability and gangs. TikTok secures a deal to keep operating in America. Minnesota faces a massive fraud probe, and China accelerates its push to become a major space power. We begin in Haiti. The United States Embassy in Haiti has warned Haiti's Transitional Presidential Council against altering current governance arrangements, saying such moves would be destabilizing and could benefit armed gangs. The warning comes amid pressure to advance elections delayed by violence. Council head Laurence Increase said Haiti cannot risk instability ahead of the council's expected February 7th exit as the elections remain stalled by insecurity. TikTok will continue operating in the United States following an arrangement between China and the US on a spin-off deal. The deal is aimed at addressing concerns over Chinese control over the app's parent company and ensure greater independence in its operations. Al Jazeera's Mike Hanna reports.
An estimated 180 million TikTok users in the US had been waiting anxiously for the fate of the app to be determined. It had been banned by a 2024 law signed by then-President Joe Biden that came into effect in January 2025. The law bans social media apps linked to foreign governments like China from being available in US app stores.
We can preserve TikTok.
But on taking office, President Trump signed a series of executive orders providing for a delay in enforcing the law to allow time for US investors to negotiate a deal with a Chinese parent company. President Trump acknowledged that users of the TikTok app had played a significant role in his election victory.
Essentially with TikTok, I have the right to either sell it or close it.
And Vice President J.D. Vance also played a role in pushing for a deal.
Of course, we're going to keep on working at it, but this deal really does mean that Americans can use TikTok, but actually use it with more confidence than they had in the past, because their data is going to be secure and it's not going to be used as a propaganda weapon against our fellow citizens.
Full details of the deal are still to be revealed, but the parent company, ByteDance, will still control a fifth of TikTok equity. But it will be joined by US tech company Oracle, a private equity firm, Silver Lake, and the Emirati-backed investment firm, MGX. Oracle is owned by Trump supporter Larry Ellison, who had previously accused the platform of being pro-Palestinian. Oracle will manage TikTok's data security, algorithm, and cloud computing, essentially moving control into US hands.
This is the CEO of TikTok.
TikTok's journey through Congress, the Supreme Court, and the White House is now at an end, or rather, a new beginning. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera, Washington.
During the Vice President's visit to Minneapolis, the state of Minnesota is facing extensive fraud investigations into state-run programs estimated to involve over half of the $18 billion spent since 2018. Al Jazeera's John Hendren reports.
Vice President J.D. Vance came to Minneapolis to deliver a pointed message. Federal immigration agents are cleaning up the city's streets over local opposition.
And because of a few very far left agitators, a lot of these guys are unable to do their jobs without being harassed, without being doxxed, and sometimes without being assaulted. That's totally unacceptable.
The Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security has now published a new list of wanted migrants it calls the worst of the worst.
It's terrifying.
But locals claim immigration agents are also detaining children, like 5-year-old Liam Ramos, who was held after Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents chased down his father. And Liam is reportedly not alone.
ICE agents have been roaming our neighborhoods, circling our schools, following our buses, coming into our parking lots and taking our children. And our hearts are shattered.
The operation in Minneapolis by 3,000 federal immigration agents began in early January after conservative YouTuber Nick Shirley posted a viral video saying several Somali American daycares and other operations were taking federal money for phantom services.
Where are the children at? No children inside of this daycare center?
Some daycare centers say the kids were there all along.
That's their classroom, they eat here.
President Donald Trump launched the federal surge and demonized the city's Somali American population.
We're cracking down on more than $19 billion in fraud that was stolen by Somalian bandits. Can you believe that they turned out to be higher IQ than we thought?
Somalis now say that talk like that has left them besieged by threats from Trump supporters like this.
You fraudulent pieces of get the out of my country, because we're coming for you, you.
The standoff continues. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry says ICE and Border Patrol should leave his city. Governor Tim Walz says he's actually prosecuting the federal fraud cases the Trump administration is concerned about, and he doesn't need the federal government's help.
For the last several years, an organized group of criminals have sought to take advantage of this state's generosity. And even as we make progress in the fight against the fraudsters, we now see an organized group of political actors seeking to take advantage of a crisis.
The White House is upping the ante, ordering 1,500 military police from Fort Bragg to prepare to deploy to Minnesota in case the president invokes the Insurrection Act, allowing a full-scale federal takeover. John Hendren, Al Jazeera, Minneapolis.
China is rapidly expanding its commercial space sector through companies like Galactic Energy, launching satellites with reusable rockets as part of its goal to become a major space power by 2045. The United States remains the leader, but this rivalry affects defense, communications, and artificial intelligence, with more satellites meaning greater global influence. Al Jazeera's Katrina Yu reports.
Rockets, satellites, and space capsules. Just some of the technology on display at the Beijing International Commercial Space Exhibition. Among the participants is Galactic Energy, one of the biggest private space firms in China. Wu Yue has worked for the rocket developer since 2019 and believes China has entered a great space age.
I grew up watching American movies about space. I never dreamed I would work in a company like this.
It's exactly the kind of company Beijing is eager to support. Last year, it set up a department dedicated to expanding the country's commercial space sector.
This company has 2 series of rockets, including one capable of reaching a distance more than 500 kilometers away. So far, they've completed 21 successful launches, taking satellites into orbit for use in navigation and communications.
China's private space industry is relatively nascent, but already worth an estimated $350 billion. Its development is in line with the country's ambition to become a major space power by 2045. Progress has been rapid. China runs one of only 2 space stations in orbit. The Tiangong has been in operation since 2022 and has continuously hosted space missions. In 2024, it became the first country to retrieve samples from the far side of the moon. But while China's making strides, it's still behind the United States. The US remains the dominant force in space, launching more rockets than any other country, with firm SpaceX leading the way. However, some believe China isn't far behind, including Enrique de la Poza, who's worked in the aerospace industry for 40 years.
I grew up with this business, so I'm quite interested. I follow up this, and that's why this is my feeling that, yeah.
The growing space rivalry isn't just about science or exploration. It has implications for defense and, increasingly, artificial intelligence. Some technology companies have plans to put AI data centers into space. In China, advancements in space aren't just a source of national pride. As Earth's orbit grows more crowded, Beijing believes the country with the most satellites and best access will have the most power. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Thanks, Dominic. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-event forecast. And that's Safety V2 Headline News for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other and do have a wonderful weekend.